All right.
You're all set?
Yes.
All right, so we'll call the meeting to order. And I'm Matt Brower, Chair of the State Committee. And we'll do a roll call of the voting members. And Megan, you said is not on.
I did not see her yet.
Okay. Start with you, Scott.
Scott Ryan, voting member.
Darren?
Darren Hickling, voting member.
And Maureen.
Maureen Loopold, voting member.
Okay, thank you. And Bethany will run through the rest of the attendees.
All right. We'll start by going around the room here in Albany, then go to Syracuse, and then I'll do roll call of folks who have joined on the line. I'm Bethany Bisdu, Executive Director of the State Soil and Water Conservation Committee.
Hi there, my name is Jason Kokinos. I'm the Ag Non-Point Source Program Manager.
Ben Luskin, Region 5 Field Staff.
Travis Ferrier, Region 6 Field Staff.
Thank you. How about around the room in Syracuse?
Tyler Gap, Watershed Programs Coordinator, State Committee.
Steve Lorraine, Madison County Soil Water.
Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA.
Dan Welch, Advisory Representative for CCE.
PJ Emmerich, I'm the Region 2 AEA.
Good morning, Ryan Cunningham, Region 4 Field Staff for the State Committee.
All right. So then we'll do a quick roll call of our advisory members who may be joining on the line. Do we have Ag and Markets representative? Okay, how about Cornell Kales? CDEA.
Good morning, Caitlin Stewart, President.
Good morning, Caitlin. Do we have anyone on the line from DEC?
Hi, Bethany. Sarah Latessa here, and we have a new staff member, Vaughn Everts, is joining us, and he will be joining these as much as he can.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sarah, and thank you for joining us, Vaughn.
Happy to be here.
How about Department of Health?
Good morning, Morgan Tarbell from Department of Health.
Good morning. Department of State?
Good morning, Pete Zimmer, Department of State.
Good morning. How about SUNY ESF?
Morning, Christine Georgakakos. I'm with Environmental Resources Engineering at ESF.
Good morning, Christine. And do we have anyone on the line from NRCS? Okay. So then we'll do a quick roll call of, oh, sorry, I cut somebody
Hi,
off.
this is Brian. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, I had connection issues and a double mute on my phone. So I am Brian Steinmiller, Assistant Director, Land and Water Resources, and representing Ag and Markets today.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, so I'll do a quick roll call of staff who may be joining on the line. Greg Albrecht.
Morning, everybody. Greg Albrecht, AIM Framework Coordinator with Ag and Markets and State Committee.
Okay. I don't believe he's on, but I'll roll call anyway. Victor DiGiacomo. Chastity Miller.
Good morning, Chastity Miller, the AEM Base Coordinator.
Jennifer Clifford.
Good morning, Jennifer Clifford, CRF Program Manager.
Lauren Prozorski. Ron Bush.
Good morning, Ron Bush, CNMP and AEM specialist.
Brendan Jordan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Brendan Jordan, AEM and CNMP specialist for the state committee.
Gideon Frisbee.
Good morning, everyone. Gideon Frisbee, AEM CNMP specialist.
Tim Clark. Tim Sheldon is not with us and Melissa is not here. So I believe that concludes our roll call of staff. I just want to extend a very warm welcome to all of the districts who are joining our meeting virtually. Please feel free to enter your name and the district or the affiliation. Here it is, and we'll record that in the minutes. Oh,
Hey,
right.
Bethany.
Is this Megan?
Yeah, I'm calling in because I can't get the link to work anywhere. So I'm not sure what to do.
Well, let me see if I can't resend that. Someone else had an issue with the meeting link today as well. And then we'll try to see if we can't get you on the video.
Okay, thank you.
If we don't, everyone just bear with me for 2 seconds. Oops. Okay, should be on its way to you, Megan.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And the next one is review and approve minutes. I don't know if you want to wait to see if Megan can connect or just move forward and.
She can still.
Well, I'm listening, so while we're waiting,
That's
you
what I
can
was
do
thinking, we
that.
could go
All
ahead.
right.
Yep.
But just a reminder, because you're not on video, you can't vote.
Yeah, that was my
At this
question.
point.
Yep.
I think
All right,
the link
well-
is going to work now. It looks like, yeah, it is.
Perfect.
It is working.
Yeah, there you are.
All right, good. Then we will, we'll move on to the review and approval of the minutes. Is there any discussion or questions concerning minutes? If not, a motion to approve,
Make motion.
second.
Second that, it's Maureen.
All righty, we'll go to voting. Darren,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
and aye for me as well, so that is approved.
Fantastic.
Bethany's going to. Am I missing? Yeah,
No,
all
yeah.
right, that's down at the bottom, okay. Correspondence, and the, EPF fiscal year 27 budget update from Bethany.
All right, so correspondence, we did not receive any official letters addressed to the committee. However, at least here in Albany, I have displayed a number of newsletters that have come in hard copy from districts across the state. We also have received a number of digital or electronic newsletters that we do our best to distribute out to our mailing list. So folks here in the Albany office can take a perusal of any of those that you would like to. For the EPF FY fiscal year 26-27 budget, on Tuesday, January 20th, Governor Hochul announced the proposed executive budget for fiscal year 2027. Which included a proposed budget for the Environmental Protection Fund, which, as you all know, is what supports many of the programs that are administered by the State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. I did send an email out to all of our contacts on our email list with a complete, well, not complete, but with a more detailed breakdown and highlights from that proposed budget. But I'll just touch on a couple here today. The total appropriations for the fiscal year 2027 budget are proposed to be 425 million. That is consistent with what was approved last year for the EPF. Some highlights from the EPF, just to take note. The governor has proposed $500,000 for the Regenerate New York program. That is a program that is administered through the Department of Environmental Conservation, but is one that is of interest for a number of districts across the state. The Climate Resilient Farming Program was proposed at $19.1 million. That is a slight decrease from what was approved in last year's budget, where we had 19.5 million. Part of that funding also includes $500,000 for the Cornell Soil Health Program. 18.7 million was proposed for the Agricultural Non-Point Source Pollution Control Program. Part of that budget item does include up to $250,000 for the Cornell Pesticide Management Education Program. That is a slight increase from what we had available last year, which was 18.5 million. The other highlight I want to call out is the Soil and Water Conservation Districts line of the EPF. This year, the governor proposed that line at $18.65 million. That is $650,000 more than what was approved last year. So last year's line was 18 million flat. I also want to note with that line in particular, there was a budget language change, and language was added to that category, which will allow for the support of district regional engineers. No specific funding was set aside for that purpose, but we see that as a pretty positive potential change to allow for that in the future if funding becomes available. I'm just going to mute that line. So I guess the next steps with this is just important to note that this is still a proposed budget. There are budget hearings happening now. The Commissioner of Ag and Markets presented, I believe it was on January 27th, gave really excellent testimony that supported the governor's ask, as well as all of the programs that run through the state committee and ultimately benefit soil and water conservation districts. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, the state legislature will approve the budget or pass an approved budget by the beginning of April. And so at that time, we'll see what's been approved, and we will share it out with this committee as well. Questions?
All right, there's no questions. We'll move on to the annual organizational meeting, and we'll start with.
Oh, actually, let me, I have some slides for this just to help.
Oh, okay.
Guide the conversation a little bit. Hopefully folks can see that. All right, there we go. Thank you.
All right, so we will start with a nomination for chair.
Nominate that.
Second.
Is there
I second that.
second? Okay. We will have to vote on that, I assume.
Yeah.
Darren,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
and Maureen.
Aye.
All right, I guess I don't vote for myself. All right, we need a nomination for the vice chair. I can nominate, right? I'm going to nominate Darren.
Second that.
All right, we'll vote. Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
and I for me as well. Darren, you can vote for yourself if you want, I suppose.
I'll abstain.
Okay. All right, so that's we got that taken care of.
Well, thank you both for committing at least another year of service as chair and vice chair to the state committee.
All righty.
Yes, much appreciated, both of you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Good leadership.
So we will go to the appointment of subcommittees, and Bethany has some notes here on that.
Yeah, so I'll just review what we've done in the past couple of years, and then you guys can take it from there. So we have 4 different subcommittees that are run as part of the state committee. We have our district operations subcommittee, municipal assistance subcommittee, technical advisory subcommittee, and our state programs advisory committee. And what we've done in the past is, rather than approve specific individuals, we thought that the actual position that whoever was filling that particular seat of the state committee, it would be, I guess, easier to do it that way rather than name individuals in case there's turnover and whatnot. So for the district operations sub, currently the NYACD rep and the urban, suburban, rural, non-ag, at-large representative are appointed to that committee. For our municipal assistance subcommittee, the same 2 individuals are appointed to that subcommittee. For our technical advisory subcommittee and the state programs advisory committee, the Grange representative, Farm Bureau representative, and at-large farm interest representatives are all appointed to those particular subcommittees, but with the caveat that only 2 members, would need to attend at a time if you do attend those meetings. Attendance at the subcommittee meetings is not mandatory, but it's, I would say, strongly encouraged because it helps. I think it helps everybody to understand, I guess, the steps and the processes that staff go through and the discussions that are had with districts, and also gives you a better sense of the issues that are going on out there with districts and things to consider. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, tonight, to just kind of echo what Bethany said, I do find that when I can participate in these meetings, I do find it helpful for when some issues come to us as the voting members. It gives some background sometimes on where the districts are at and how we got to where we are when it gets to us. So I do find it helpful. Is there any other discussion concerning the subcommittees?
I would agree with you there, Matt. I haven't been to that many of them, but it does help with understanding.
And it's Maureen here. Obviously I'm on 2 and I'm not familiar with them. So do they have regular meetings?
Yeah, good question. So at this point, the district operations subcommittee is meeting more regularly. Victor DiGiacomo has been heading that one up, although the meeting frequency is escaping me. It's every couple of months or so he will have a meeting that is comprised of mainly district staff and then some state committee staff. Right now, they're going through an exercise to update the district operations manual. And we'll make sure, Maureen, that you're on those meeting invites as well.
Great.
I missed the last meeting, unfortunately, so I'm not sure when the next meeting of that group is scheduled for. The Municipal Assistance Subcommittee, Brian Cunningham and PJ are kind of head up that subcommittee and coordinate that. We usually meet on an annual basis on that with that subcommittee, unless there are more topics or a need to have more meetings. We certainly will schedule them, but at this point, it's kind of an annual meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, someone just wrote in the chat, I think April 9th, perhaps? If I
Yep,
caught
that's
that fast enough. Thank you.
Yep.
For the district operations?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm assuming that's a Zoom also?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion on the subcommittees? If not, motion to approve the subcommittees as presented.
I'll make that motion. It's Maureen.
Second.
All righty, and we'll go to voting. Darren,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
and Maureen,
Aye.
and aye for me as well, so that's approved. All right, the next item is the establishment of the meeting schedule for 2026.
So this is something we've never really done before, other than just to say we try to stick to the third Tuesday of each month, but I thought it might be good to throw some dates out there for the rest of the year, just to kind of get people thinking about it in advance and maybe planning ahead as best as possible. I think it should go, it's fair to say these are all tentative and it's, subject to availability and whatnot, but what you're seeing up on the screen is, for the most part, the third Tuesday of each month, with the exception of November, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But for our April meeting, in the past, we've tried to do a fully in-person meeting. We've done one in Utica before. We can maybe toy with a different location if there's one in Syracuse or something. But I do think we should stick to that, try to maintain that fully in-person meeting. It's nice to get together in person every so often, as much as we can. In July, following kind of the model what we did last year, I'd like to try to plan for a state committee principals meeting. Could be in the state somewhere, and then couple that with a conservation tour. That date, I just put subject to change in case we have to shift around just based on availability, if it's going to be like a 2-day thing. I have never planned a state committee principals meeting before, but it involves getting invitations out early to the commissioners of all the and presidents of all of our advisory member agencies. So, that's something we haven't done in a while, but something I would like to start planning for, if you all agree as well. And then in November, this is a year, 2026, where we are set to planning to host a statewide managers meeting. That's something we do every other year based on, availability of funds. We're pretty sure that the funds are going to be available for that managers meeting. And we thought it might be a good idea, again, to try to couple a state committee meeting and that managers meeting. I tentatively wrote early in November, thinking that if we hit that first week of November, we'd be getting it in before busy holiday stuff. And that's why also you're seeing no October meeting, because I kind of thought we would be able to catch October business if we did it early in November. Any thoughts on that?
I agree with, I like the in-person meeting in April, and I'm, as far as location goes, I know I'm flexible. Utica works, but if we try to get a little closer to the members out in the western part of the state, that's fine with me. I also really am a strong supporter of a conservation tours meeting in July, that we did the one last year. And if we can get principals to join us, that would certainly be great. I think it's good for the voting members to see where the money is spent, how it's being used, and it also gives us a chance to meet some of the district staff in counties and hear from them directly. So I like that. And I also like the idea of trying to combine our meeting with a manager's meeting. I think that I try to get to the manager's meeting if I can. Unfortunately, the past couple of years, I've not been able to, but if we combine the two, then maybe I'll have to. So, so I like the schedule. If anybody else has any thoughts on it?
Just getting the dates in advance is helpful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, the only thing with November we probably got to watch out for is the two early holidays, the Election Day and the
Yes.
Veterans Day. But
So I guess I didn't put it on there, but on Friday we had a staff meeting and we're kind of batting around some ideas. We were thinking about November 4th and 5th potentially, which is a Wednesday and a Thursday. First week. So then we miss Election Day. And then Veterans Day is the following week. So that kind of departs from our normal like third Tuesday schedule, but those were I guess that was the time frame we were thinking about.
works for me.
Yeah, I know I won't be around the first week in November, but as long as
Okay.
as long as you have a quorum, it's not a big deal.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep an eye on it. Like I said, it's all, subject to change, and if we need to adjust based on availability, we can do that. Sure is, but it'll go by fast, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, all right, yeah, that's good. And, along the way, if anybody has any other suggestions, comments, feel free to throw them out there at one of our meetings or send Bethany a message and, we can make adjustments as needed. All right, we are at the year in review and the 2026 priorities.
All right. So, yeah, I get the pleasure of kicking off this presentation, and I'm excited to do so because it's a lot of work to look back and try to remember what we did and take account for everything that happened in the past year, but it is also a very rewarding exercise. And this year, it was a real collaborative team approach. A number of us are going to be presenting this morning, so you don't just have to hear from me to drone on. But I'm very excited to kind of kick this presentation off. So I thought it would be most appropriate, since we're here sharing what was accomplished last year, and also, when we wrap this up, kind of have a discussion about what we would like to focus on for 2026. I think it's a good reminder that everything we do is in support of the mission of the State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. As it is written in our strategic plan, the mission of the state committee is to advance comprehensive natural resources management in partnership with and through the support of local soil and water conservation districts. So we, I think as a staff, try to keep that in mind and everything that we do project-wise and with our programs and, with the activities that are assigned to us from the voting members. It's always a good thing to keep this mission in top of mind, when we're thinking about what we do day to day. So in 2025, I think it's most appropriate to start off with, we can't carry out our mission or meet our mission without a full slate of voting members and without the staff necessary to really carry out the activities that are going to help us meet that mission. So this actually probably started in 2024, but we wanted to make sure that all of the voting members that were on the committee were current in their appointment status. So when we started that, at the end of, I think, 2024, there were a couple voting members who indicated that they did not want to seek reappointment, that they were interested in stepping down. So going through that process of getting appointments for two new members, we were fortunate in 2025 in May. Megan Hauser was able to join the committee as our at-large farm interests representative. And a few months later in September, Maureen Loopold joined the committee as our second at-large representative, representing the non-farm interests. We also pursued the reappointment of both Scott and Darren. So I believe everybody is now under a current term, and we can move forward with a full set of voting members. We also, in 2025, in addition to trying to make sure we have all the voting members in place, worked very closely with department leadership here in the front office, but also department human resources and Division of Land and Water leadership to expand the staff that are dedicated to supporting the State Soil and Water Conservation Committee. In 2025, we hired 3 additional staff members that expanded our program team, our CNMP planning team, and our regional coordinator team. And I think it's fair to say all of those individuals are doing an amazing job since they've been able to join our team. So that brings us to a total of 18 staff, 18 department staff, I should say, who are dedicated to supporting the state committee and carrying out its mission. We also have several other department staff within our division who support state committee programs and, our administration. So I think we're functioning at a pretty high level with a great staff, but we're keeping that momentum going. At the end of 2025, we got approval to start the search for a senior environmental analyst position to serve as a program analyst and provide data management and support to the division. This would be a backfill for Tyler Knapp, who was promoted to the watershed programs coordinator position. We recently wrapped up interviews for that position, so we're going to be moving through the process of working with HR to make an offer and go forward. Late last year, we also received approval to move forward with the hiring of a state aid to districts program manager who would also serve as a district operations specialist. That's still in the very beginning stages. We're working with HR to develop position descriptions, job announcements, and all that sort of thing. So that's something we'll be continuing into this year. So exciting news on that front. In addition to building out our staff and continuing to grow the staff that supports the state committee, the staff who are currently on are working day to day to support district operations. This is one of our main goals written in the strategic plan, and we really focus on continuing efforts to build and maintain highly qualified staff within districts who have the necessary experience and knowledge to fulfill, their mission in their local offices. So one way that we're able to strongly support district operations is through the administration of the State Aid to Districts program. And as we just talked about, that's supported through the Environmental Protection Fund. In 2025, that line saw a $750,000 increase from $17.25 million to $18 million. That program is essential to support district operations and the technical work that districts do. It also helps to offset the contributions that individual counties allocate to their districts as well. Our regional coordinator staff are out there day in and day out attending district board meetings, and actively assisting districts to make sure that they are meeting those state aid to districts requirements. They do that by reviewing district annual plans of work, conducting trainings, whether that is our pre-made district director training modules or customized training based on request from the particular district. Hang on one moment, folks. I'm just gonna... Sorry about that. Where was it? So we were out there conducting trainings to districts, district directors, and providing information support as needed. One other really important function that our regional coordinator team serve is they help to review all of the contracts that we have through all of our programs with soil and water conservation districts. This is really critical because we're making sure that districts are administering the funds appropriately and helping them to better their administration of the program and of the projects. We also have staff out there who are, in addition to conducting those trainings, are working with district boards to help encourage recruitment and retention. This is an effort that Scott Fickbaum and Victor DiGiacomo started up, I think, a couple of years ago now, and they continue to offer these presentations to districts on request to help share information with district boards so that they can make better decisions about how they want to grow their district by adding staff and also focusing on maintaining the staff that are currently there. We've already kind of mentioned it, but another way that we are supporting district operations is by updating the district operations manual. This is an effort that's being undertaken by the district operations subcommittee, which is led by Victor DiGiacomo. It's started in earnest last year and will likely continue throughout this year. But that operations manual is an essential tool that districts use as a guide to help make sure that their offices are running in the best way possible. And lastly, I wanted to recognize that in September of 2025, we convened a State Aid to Districts Forum. This is an opportunity where we're able to collect feedback from districts on the State Aid to Districts program, get ideas, and run some of our thoughts by districts as we're preparing to release the next, I guess, year of the program. That's something I think we might have gotten away from for a year or so, but I'm hoping that as we continue going forward, we'll be able to do that on an annual basis going forward. So riffing off and building off of the recruitment and retention piece, we are focused on building that capacity out there with districts, and that's again helping districts to build their staff numbers, but also helping districts to build the technical capacity that they need in order to successfully implement their local programs. So something that we started in 2025, we began working with four-way partnership, our CDEA partners and NYACD partners and NRCS, to start figuring out ways to how we can better connect prospective college graduates with careers in the conservation field. That particular project where we were engaging with individuals from SUNY kind of fell to the bottom of the priority pile throughout the year, but it is something that I would like to continue to focus on this year and find different ways that we can all work together just to get the word out there that soil and water conservation districts and just conservation careers in general are out there and available and can be very fulfilling. Along those same lines, we put together a work group of advisory members, districts, and folks from the private sector to begin trying to discuss how to overcome engineering challenges that are out there for districts, particularly lots of delays and backlogs due to a shortage of available engineers. So we had our first work group meeting actually in January of 2026, but you know, that idea happened in 2025. So I think it's important to recognize that that's something we started to work on as well. We're also working with districts to revamp the district technician training curriculum. That was a project that was born out of a request from the Conservation Districts Employees Association. And we've had a few meetings so far to take a look at what is currently available in terms of the training curriculum, and you know, we're providing any assistance that we can with that effort. Tim Clark is in the process of updating our Conservation Approval Authority policy, which is something that was developed, I think, in 2015 to allow district technicians who demonstrate that they have the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to be able to sign off on certain conservation practices. I think that's a really great policy, and one that we'd love to promote more going forward after we get it updated. Folks in our planning department are working tirelessly to continue to grow our AEM planner certification program. Again, this year, we've seen an increase in AEM certified planners. I believe now we are up to a total of 52. That's a combination of district staff and private sector planners. These folks are out there making sure that individuals who are pursuing the certification through that process are highly qualified and are always available to provide assistance to any district technician or private planner technician who may be having questions or issues. They are always available to address planning software issues or other needs. They are also responsible for leading sessions at Water Quality Symposium and Conservation Skills Workshop to provide that additional training to districts out there in the field. And the last thing I do want to mention in this particular category, our staff have helped to co-instruct 5 New York State DEC 4-hour erosion and sediment control courses with districts. So that is also another way that we're helping to support districts in that work. Public relations and outreach, we mentioned it before, but in July we had a conservation project tour in Tompkins County featuring a wide variety of projects that really showcase what districts are capable of out there. Throughout the year, we've also collaborated with Department of Ag and Markets press team on a number of different press releases and press events. We developed an Earth Day press release, which featured soil and water conservation districts and program accomplishments. Our program managers have also worked with them to develop informational flyers regarding the CRF program and Ag Non-Point Source program that can be used to get the word out there about our programs and what they're all about. Jason will probably touch on this later, but we've also worked with them on a press event, which is a pretty exciting opportunity. Last year, we distributed an annual report that highlighted the accomplishments from state committee programs as well as the AEM program, and showcased, you know, the work of soil and water districts across the state. Again, that report is distributed widely to all of our district partners, New York State legislators, and we get it into the hands of as many people as possible just to showcase what's going on out there. We included district-led presentations at state committee meetings. I believe we had 3 different presentations from districts throughout the year. That's something I'd like to continue to try to work in more, or as much as we possibly can, into our future agendas. And our staff administered another round of the statewide AEM Leopold Conservation Award, which is an excellent opportunity to really showcase a farm in the state who exemplifies what it means to be a steward of the land and really represents what it is to have agricultural environmental management. So the 2025 award recipient was Oshner Farm, which is located in Tompkins County. We continue to track our program data throughout the year. This is something, and Tyler will present on it here in a little bit. It's really important because it allows us to showcase what we're accomplishing out there, how those state funds are being spent, and what they're being spent on. We're hoping it going forward into the future that we can find a more streamlined way to go about doing that. But I think we're being pretty successful right now in that effort. And by tracking that data regularly, we can easily provide reports to our partners, primarily DEC, to assist in meeting statewide goals and initiatives. We also assist many districts in the development of their own data management systems that allow them to track their own data so that they can report back to their county officials on what they're doing in their county. One thing I did want to highlight is that we're working on new ways to collect program data. Tyler specifically has been piloting an ArcGIS-based system that is used to collect program information, like projects that are planned, as well as projects that are completed in a very unique way. We're piloting that with the Eastern Finger Lakes Coalition, and hopefully we'll see some success from that database. In 2025, again, we're focusing on trying to be as cooperative and collaborative as possible. We hosted 5 regional managers meetings to provide opportunities for districts and district board members to connect with state committee. I think not only is that a great opportunity for us to communicate what's going on program-wise, policy-wise, or whatever, but it's a even better opportunity for districts to connect with one another and learn from each other. Last year, I updated our advisory member list. It was a little outdated, and folks had indicated that they were stepping down from the advisory member role. So I wanted to get that updated so we could make sure we're communicating with the people that we need to communicate with. I also encouraged our advisory members to indicate an alternate. This wasn't something that we had before. Not everybody had before anyway. And I just thought that that is a really good way to make sure we're continuing to maintain that line of communication. If somebody can't make one meeting, maybe the alternate can come, and we're still sharing all that information with all of our advisory members. And our staff regularly participate in advisory member and partnership meetings, primarily our Conservation District Employees Association and NYACD meetings. And we continue to hold our regular subcommittee meetings throughout the year to connect with districts on various topics, as well as our advisory members. So I'm not really going to touch on all of our program accomplishments because I'm going to pass it off to the program managers to do that. So Jason, you're up.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'll give the overview for Ag Non-Point Source. Pick us up. So Ag Non-Point Source is state committee's dedicated water quality matching grant program. It's defined by Conservation District Law, Article 2, Section 11B, to identify, reduce, abate, control, or prevent non-point source pollution originating from agricultural sources. New York State is characterized by our working landscapes where normal agricultural operations contribute non-point water quality pollutants. Ag Non-Point Source uses the AIM-tiered framework to provide upstream solutions for downstream benefits. Over the years, projects funded through Agnon Point Source have supported the quality of New York's lakes, streams, coastlines, and aquifers, along with all the ecological benefits that come with them supporting New Yorkers' daily lives. The Agnon Point Source program is available to soil and water conservation districts applying on behalf of AIM participating farms with completed Tier 1 and Tier 2. Projects may either be for the next step of AIM as either a Tier 3 plan or a Tier 4 implementation of ag best management systems with inclusive NRCS conservation practices. Like I was saying, it's a matching grant program where New York State funds can cover a part of a project that would be up to 75% of a project's cost outright. This fraction of state cost share can be increased 1-to-1% ratio with contribution from the farm up to an 87.5% to 12.5% cost share ratio breakdown between the partners. Eligible costs for projects in Agnon Point Source include BMP implementation, conservation district administrative and technical time, consulting or private services, plans and designs, or other direct BMP expenses. The Agnon Point Source program is an RFP, which is a request for proposals, meaning it's competitive. Proposals are scored and ranked, which then determines how funding is dispersed until funds are exhausted. Scoring is done by up to 6 reviewers who allocate 50 points, up to 50 points, on how well the proposal meets the following criteria of identified need, scope of work, supporting conservation, and cost effectiveness. Some highlights of the program include how well they support our partners' clean water and drinking water plans, i.e. that benefit to downstream benefit to New Yorkers. In Agnon Point Source law, there's the PWL list and the AIM strategic plan for conservation district. And also this past year, we highlighted disadvantaged communities in part because we received some Bond Act funding for round 30. Slide. Round 30 was our highlight of 2025. The 30th anniversary of the program was accompanied by record level of funding with $25 million available. That was $14 million from the EPF and $11 million from our 2022 Bond Act. In round 30, we developed the RFP and made some edits to it. Highlights of it were requiring the plan of work at application phase, restricting preference points to forested buffers only, including an aquatic resource narrative and table, and revisiting questions and scoring criteria to better clarify the goals of the program. That was done with feedback from reviewers and applicants together. Results of round 30 are shown on the table to the right. In round 30, 146 proposals were submitted, 50 were awarded. 41 districts submitted proposals, and 25 were successful in receiving grants. 253 farms applied, and 109 received awards. In total, $81 million was requested of the $25 million that was originally available, so over 3 times oversubscribed. Specific to BMPs, we were able to fund 37 of the 115 proposed waste storages. We were able to fund 6,300 of the nearly 32,000 acres of cover crops and 29 acres of buffers of the 67 that were proposed. The round was celebrated with a walking tour of the awarded farm in Cortland County with Commissioner Ball, Commissioner Lefton from DEC, Cortland County Soil and Water, the state committee chair and staff. The project was of a proposed waste storage using Bond Act funds on a heifer replacement facility. It was a beautiful fall day with lots of baby cows on site. Next slide. Excuse me, previous slide. Skipping ahead. In 2025, we also closed out projects from rounds 23 through 29. In total, 31 contracts were closed with the most submissions by Madison and Chautauqua County Soil and Water. Total final funds accounted for in this year included $8.1 million from the state, $448,000 from sponsor districts, and $6.6 million from the awarded farms. In total, 91 systems were completed, with most systems from soil health, waste storage and transfer, and riparian buffers. And of these projects that we closed out, we selected 3 highlight projects to look at. So I wanted to mention first a round 26 Wyoming County project, which installed a 5 million gallon waste storage and transfer system and accompanying 0.7 acre spacious riparian buffer, demonstrating a good a combination of barnyard construction and strategic field conservation practices. Next one I wanted to highlight was 778 acres of cover crops planted by Madison County Soil and Water Conservation District on 6 small and mid-sized dairies using state committee soil health policy flat rate and a 75 to 25% cost share breakdown. This was a good demonstration of soil health done at a scale that was feasible for the smaller dairy operations. Finally, I want to highlight a project in Suffolk County where 6 petroleum and oil storage product systems on Long Island vineyards, nurseries, and vegetable farms were installed. This project supported farm management and safety and also compliance with local Department of Health regulations. That's why I highlight Ag non-point source this year.
For our CRF program, we have slightly different goals. The CRF program goals are to reduce greenhouse gas emissions on farm, increase carbon sequestration on agricultural lands, and prepare farms for a changing climate. Similar to Ag non-point source, all of the projects that are proposed to be funded in CRF are planned through the AIM framework. And cost share for the CRF program is 80%, so the state funding. So we will fund up to 80% of total eligible costs for BMP implementation, and then up to 100% for outreach and technical assistance. We've also offered some higher cost share for cover and flare projects in round 8 when we had some federal funds that were incorporated into the program. So we do have some flexibility with our cost share rates, unlike the Ag non-point source program. If we hear some feedback that farms might need more help with a cover and flare type of project that are higher expenses, we have the ability to kind of adjust our cost share rate. It's not written into a law like Ag non-point source. The scoring for CRF is 50 points per reviewer. We have 4 review agencies that review CRF applications. They look at criteria. They look at criteria from under greenhouse gas emission reduction and resiliency, scope of work, budgeting, and cost effectiveness. Highlights of the CRF program are that it aligns with the New York State Climate Act and targets that were set in the state's scoping plan. CRF is seen as the main mechanism to meeting a lot of those targets for greenhouse gas reduction. The program can help address environmental issues and prepare a farm for a changing climate. It can address preventative measures, focus on methane reduction from manure management. This is important for reducing emissions across the agricultural sector. Flood and drought issues through water management, and carbon sequestration through soil health and forestry. Next slide, please. So in the CRF program, we have some separate tracks of funding so that some of these similar projects are scored against each other. We have track 1 for livestock management, alternative waste management, and precision feed management to reduce methane emissions from livestock operations through manure management. Track 2 focuses on adaptation and resiliency to enhance climate resiliency and the adaptive capacity of the farm operation. Track 3 is Healthy Soils NY to improve soil health while reducing nitrous oxide and increasing carbon sequestration. Track 4 is the Agricultural Forest Management track for supporting supporting healthy productive forest as well as afforestation on currently unforested lands for carbon sequestration. Next slide, please. So we did just close round 9, or not just close it, but we just finished reviewing round 9, and we are going to be bringing the ranked list before you today for approval. So we have 24 million available, and there was 38.2 million requested. We received 96 applications, representing a total of 195 farms across the state. 9 manure storage cover and flare projects were proposed, 64,000 acres of cover crops were proposed, 47 acres of riparian buffers were proposed. Looking forward to round 10, we are in RFP development currently, looking at revising some of that scoring criteria and expanding some of the project types that will be eligible in round 10. In 2025, we did complete 18 contract closeouts from rounds 3 through 7 of CRF. The funding represents a state amount of 1.9 million and the farm match of 984,690. We closed out 30 systems, mostly in soil health, erosion control, structural practices, prescribed grazing, and cover and flare systems. There were 4 cover and flare systems, 3,000 acres of cover crops, and 3,000 acres of streamline and shoreline protection. Next slide, please. Two projects that we closed out in 2025 that I wanted to highlight were from round 5. The first was from Portland County. It was a stream bank stabilization project where they rehabilitated 1,100 feet of stream, put in 3.2 acres of riparian forest buffer and 2 acres of critical area planting. This project was stabilized eroding banks, protecting cropland, improving floodplain connectivity, creating carbon sink, and increased farm resilience to extreme weather events. They had some great partnership in this project, working with the USC, and the site was used as a demonstration site for education at Conskills and other education and outreach in the county. The estimated greenhouse gas reduction for this project was 20 metric tons of CO2, but the resiliency benefits were great. The other project I wanted to highlight was also from round 5, a cover and flare project that was completed in Cayuga County. This was on a farm that had several projects implementing cover and flares on several of their manure storages. So it was an 8.6 million gallon manure storage that was covered, and biogas pipes and flare were installed to manage the methane. 2.4 million gallons of rainwater are being excluded from the storage per year and utilized on the farm instead of mixing and diluting the concentration of the manure. The estimated greenhouse gas reduction of this project was 6,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent. I think that's the end of my slides. Thank you.
Those look like my slides. Bethany, I just want to do a quick test to make sure we're okay on our end.
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, we seem to be cutting in and out, and it might be Syracuse in general today. So let me know if I need to turn off the video and try to gain some more capacity. So I'm going to kind of combine Ag Non-Point and CRF and kind of go through high-level overviews for 2025 for completed projects and kind of break them apart a little bit more further. So almost 50 completed contracts in 2025. That's incorporating 31 soil and water conservation districts and almost 250 staff. That 250 staff, we're looking at almost 18,000 hours, implementation hours. So district time going out in the field, in the office, contract work, holding a survey, whatever it may be. It's just an impressive amount of time to implement all of those projects across those 31 districts. In the map, those are the HUC 12s, but we're looking at about 83 sub-watersheds or HUC 12s. So we've completed projects across 83 HUC 12s in New York State. The map on the right there, those are completed projects scattered across the state. And the next slide, I'll kind of break it apart further so you can see how many active projects there are currently going on as well. In terms of funding, in terms of funding, 10 million for state funds, about 500,000 for sponsor investment and almost 8 million in landowner investment. So really a good cost share percentage across both programs. I think it's worth calling out that for the state funds, you're almost $8.5 million for associated BMP costs. So a large chunk of that $10.1 million in the state funds are going towards the BMP being installed. Go ahead, Bethany. So yeah, this is the visual that I think is pretty important to see. Just the volume of active projects that are across New York State, as well as the scattering of completed projects, which varies year to year, but pretty consistently we see a similar number of projects that we're closing out. Worth highlighting here, there are holes in the state, but they're largely mainly forested areas, right? So Adirondacks, the Catskills, Allegheny. It's quite fascinating to look at just to see where state parks are and just mainly forested or DEC lands in that case, and just the sheer volume of active contracts out there for projects. Next slide. So again, this is combined Ag non-point and CRF. Just trying to split apart the funding a little bit further. So across those contracts, there were 121 collective projects on 127 farms. Across those projects, we're looking at over 500 individual conservation practices. 15 other or more of the projects include NRCS match. So it's worth calling out that that actually could be higher sometimes when district staff are completing our paperwork, instead of putting NRCS or EQIP or whatever program it may be, they might just put landowner. So hopefully, as Bethany said, as we kind of progress through our data collection, we can iron that out a little bit better and get more realistic numbers. Average contract amount, just about $200,000. That's on the state side. So that's what the state is putting on average. That has been consistent the last 3 years that I've done this. It has pretty much been 200,000 to up to 220 on average. So it's just pretty cool how consistent that has been. 206,000 or 56% state share per project, 11,000 or 2% on the sponsor side, 155,000 or 42% on the landowner. And the total average cost is to 372 to get that 300%. So just kind of breaking it apart a little bit further, but really pretty much focusing on that 200,000 average contract size. So not as big as you would think, I suppose. And again, those 540 conservation practices, we're talking a broad range of farm types and BMP systems. And the individual practices themselves. Next slide. So kind of leading up to that. So this is Ag non-point. So I do split it apart a little bit for the programs just to kind of get a visual of where systems or what the volume of systems going in across each program. So this is Ag non-point. Heavy hitters for systems. I think we kind of already touched down, so 25 soil health systems, 17 waste storage and transfer systems, and then the livestock heavy use area runoff management systems. So total of 91 systems across Ag non-point, or 470 individual practices that make up those systems. So a pretty significant volume of practices were implemented in 2025. Next slide. CRF, similar breakdown, 15 soil health systems. So you can see the correlation between the two programs. Soil health is kind of a big hitter for last year. Jennifer already said erosion control structural systems and prescribed grazings were kind of the follow-ups there. So CRF was a total of 30 systems or 70 individual best management practices. Next slide. So let's split apart the project participants or the farms. I have a combined overall farm type participation pie chart, and then I break apart each program. But as you can kind of see from the pie chart, we're really looking at dairy, cash crop, and beef, and then vegetable actually for overall participation for last year. And I do want to emphasize, this is just a collection of last year's data. It's always important to keep in mind that these systems and these farms participated in projects potentially across 5 years. So this is kind of just a snapshot in time, but just kind of breaking this apart by the contracts, and these are the farms that participated across those various contracts. Next slide. So by each program, so Ag non-point and CRF, similar breakdown. Ag non-point a little heavier in the dairy, but I guess that's to be expected with the waste storage facilities that we saw in that program, followed by cash crop, beef, and vegetable. CRF side, equally heavy in the dairy, but also split with the cash crops. I think that aligns very well with the soil health systems that are coming into play in that program, followed by orchard and vegetable. So a pretty cool breakdown. And the numbers are kind of there to just show the actual participants as well. So environmental effects, we try our best every year to estimate our reductions, both water quality and greenhouse gas. The tools, I always use this slide to kind of preface that the tools are always improving, and we do our best given what we have at the current moment. NP and sediment, so nitrogen, phosphorus, and sediment reductions. Historically, we relied more on the CAS system, which was the Chesapeake Assessment Scenario tool, but we have since kind of collaborated with DEC to adopt a similar tool just to be consistent across the state and how we report our reduction estimates. So shout out to Davis for working really one-on-one with me to try to incorporate ag into this tool to make us a little bit more consistent as we go. So we use that calculator now for the water quality side. And then as we have in the past for the climate side, CO2 equivalents, we have recently updated to Comet Planner 4.0. That was released in September of 2025. So there was new coefficients that we incorporated into a calculator to kind of keep us up to speed on our reduction estimates on that side as well, which we'll get into in the next slide. So water quality, we are looking at a total of 14,000 pounds of phosphorus reduced across all of those BMPs that were implemented in 2025, 245,000 pounds of nitrogen, and 27 million pounds of sediment. Sediment accumulates big time across some of these practices, so that's why that seems so high. But really good numbers. We compared to last year, and they actually are quite similar, and we actually completed a similar volume of systems and individual best management practices. So that was kind of cool to see that they are somewhat consistent. So we'll jump to environmental. Go ahead, Bethany. So greenhouse gas side, we're looking at about 11,000 or just over 11,000 metric tons of CO2e were sequestered across all of the contracts, right? So all those implemented contracts and those BMPs, so that could have been over the course of 5 years. This isn't per year, so that was over the course of however many years it was to implement those BMPs, was just over 11,000 metric tons. So I always try to put that into a little bit more digestible format. So that 11,000 metric tons equates to 2,600 passenger cars driven per year, or 29 million miles of those passenger cars. 1,500 annual, basically annual energy usage for single family homes, or 1.3 million gallons of gasoline consumed. Always good to state in this slide that these estimates are, so there's missing pieces here, and it's always, I try to be as transparent as possible. So roofs and covers for let's say climate resilient farming. So our aggressive approach on trying to cap manure storages and flare them off, we don't necessarily have the tools to try to really put reduction estimates to paper on that. It is coming and it's always improving. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we will see, I'm hoping larger numbers, but potentially we may see about the same, because on the flip side of that, we have our other program, Ag Non-Point Source, implementing waste storage facilities, which may impact those reductions, right? So as we put in waste storage facilities, we actually may be contributing to greenhouse gas inputs. So I think basically we're trying to keep an eye on this, and as tools become available, we try to keep these updated, and hope it's always improving. So we're kind of getting there. But it is just good to keep that in mind. It's a number, it's a snapshot in time, but it could be different as we develop or receive new tools. Next slide. That's not me.
That's me. This is Chaz. I'm the AEM base coordinator as before. We talked about. So I'm going to give some highlights on the AEM base program. And just as a reminder, this is a non-competitive funding program for districts, and it was originally established to assist districts in guaranteeing technical assistance funding. It utilizes the tier process 1 through 5. And within the last few years or so, we have also added some cost share funding for implementation projects. Most recently, we are at 3-year cycles. And this round has $300,000 max in implementation money that a district can utilize. You can hit the next slide. So we are just finishing up round 18 and starting round 19. So quite a bit going on right now. Round 18 was 2024 to 2025. It was a 2-year contract. 53 districts participated. As you can see there, $19.4 million awarded, with 9.6 million for the technical track and 9.8 million for cost share track. There was approximately 275 projects estimated. We had a flat hour rate that districts could utilize at $51 per hour. $10,000 put aside for soil sampling, compost sampling, assistance for districts there, and about $100,000 per year. Again, that's 2 years, so $200,000 for Tier 4 implementation projects. As you can see, there were 3 options that a district could apply for, A, B, or C. What the point is here is I want to just show some of the comparisons. So round 19 shifted to a 3-year contract. That started January 1st of 2026. We have 57 districts participating. That's all but one. And the other one is working on it. So they'll be in the next round, round 20. $32.9 million was awarded. And of that, $17.7 million for technical assistance, $15.2 million for implementation. And just as a reminder, that is for 3 years. A big difference between round 18 and 19 is we've added some rate options for districts, from $60 an hour to $68 an hour and $74 an hour. We've upped the sampling amount to accommodate the 3 years at 15,000. And again, the implementation money is about the same as it was in round 18. Now, as you can see in the options, we have increased the money for technical assistance per year from round 18 and also included a few new certifications that qualify districts for option B. And just as a note here, again, the hourly rate went up to, the general hourly rate went up to $60 an hour. For option B certification employees, $68 an hour. And then those option C up to $74 an hour. So we're trying to accommodate for some of those certifications. You can hit the next slide, please. Just a little bit of a visual, because we all like those the best, to show the increases in funding and districts over the years across the AEM based program. If you haven't noticed, last year was our 25-year anniversary. So districts have been doing awesome work on AEM projects and technical assistance for 25 years. And again, just a little bit of a summary of the round 18 and 19 options here. Okay, the next one, please. All right, so 2025 accomplishments. Districts continued to work on round 18. We also got feedback from districts on how things were going, the good, bad, and ugly on all of them. We made some adjustments and put it out to districts and the managers meetings, the TAC meetings, and the SPAC meetings, so that we could refine the programs and policies and help make those better. We proposed updated funding. And because of all of those interactions and that information that districts provided, we increased the contract term and the additional certification and built in some new and multiple rates for staff within the program, as I just highlighted back on the last slide. We also brought it to the Soil and Water Committee to discuss and approve. And at that time, when we got the approval, we allocated the funding for the 3 years of round 19. And that money, just as a reminder, comes from the EPF and the Ag non-point source line items and return funds. So we did webinars on round 19. We collected action plans for approval, and those were due by July 1st, and all districts got those in on time. New York State Ag and Markets Fiscal and Council reviewed everything for completeness in contracting, and all round 19 contracts were executed by the end of November. So big highlight there. This is a unprecedented opportunity here. We have everything in place before the beginning of a round, and a huge thank you to all the districts for getting all their information in, and all of our staff and council for getting all of those documents done and completed and in place. So we're pretty proud of that. Also, districts submitted their strategies by the end of the year for 2026 to 2030. And that's what districts are going to do with that funding and how they prioritize projects. We have also, and you guys, thank you very much, approved the Tier 1 and Tier 2 for the nearshore aquaculture program. And we're beginning to develop a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 that focuses on urban agriculture. So a lot of work in continuing to support districts and specific programs around the state. Districts completed round 18 by December 31st, and they kicked off right away January 1st, round 19. Okay, you can hit the next one. So like I said, we kicked off round 19. We are working on closing out round 18 with technical assistance and Tier 4 contracts. They were done December 31st. We're beginning to collect paperwork and that information. Stay tuned. We're going to give you guys probably a presentation on that in the fall of 2026 on all of those amazing accomplishments from our districts. There's a lot out there, and I've looked at a lot of projects already, and there's some pretty impressive work going on out there. We're continuing to update resources and the information for AEM programs, fixing links in documents, updating the tier 1s and tier 2s. We've even thrown a lot of the newer stuff right onto the website, and that's been really great to work with. We are working on a presentation for March 11th at the Water Quality Symposium on AEM-based project management and a tier 4 showcase, so we can see some of those projects that the districts are doing across the state and share with each other. We are continuing to work on the nearshore aquaculture, and specifically with a new BMP system for our ag catalog, and continuing to work on our urban ag tier 1 and 2, collecting their resources, getting more information, seeing what other district people are doing, and what we can best do to help our urban areas within our districts. Just a couple photos here just to highlight some of the round 18 projects that we're starting to see. Lots of irrigation and a lot of cover crop projects. So I think that's my last slide, I believe. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chaz. Thanks, everybody. I'm Greg Albrecht. I'm presenting on Lauren Przorski's behalf as she's taking a well-deserved break in a much warmer place this week. And I'll do an overview of a program that she has run like a top for the last several years, even at half-time on her staff, while she spends the other half or other full-time, as it may be, running her family's farm. EBM emerged from the New York State Ocean and Great Lakes Ecosystem Conservation Act back in 2006, and it formed a council by which most state agencies, including the state committee, are a member of. And it's funded through an annual line in the Environmental Protection Fund. And for instance, last year's budget had it statewide for all the agencies and their programs tapping into EBM programs at 24.6 million. That should say there. My apologies for not throwing an M in. Ag and Markets and the state committee submits requests annually to the council DEC in the neighborhood of $500,000 or $1 million. And they're really focused on complementing our other programs and needs of soil and water districts and farmers and non-farmers too. It can work in non-ag contexts as well, for on-the-ground implementation, or targeted for specific BMPs or trainings or watersheds or pollutants. And overarching everything is that projects are prioritized for those that drain to the Great Lakes or directly to an ocean. So we have offered them just in those watersheds. When we offer it as a statewide basis, we need to include a rating criteria that gives priority to projects in those watersheds. Next slide. Here are some of the current programs that have active contracts in EBM. So it kind of gives you a sense for the specific types of project opportunities that are put out with these more focused EBM offerings to move around to different watersheds and practices and so on to meet needs. So irrigation water management systems, I won't work through all the details here, but just to give you a sense, and the rest will serve as notes with the meeting. Various erosion and sediment control, think classic, in the field, soil and water conservation practices with diversions, wascobs, grassed waterways, and so on. Implementing practices on New York State grown and certified farms from their tier 3 AIM plans, and so on. Next slide, please. Going forward, we have opened and then closed the Stream Corridor Management Pilot Program, which was broken into 4 tracks for stream stabilization, riparian buffers, more roadside, municipal infrastructure, culvert upgrades, and outreach and education. We received about 1.6, 1.7 million across 30 proposals of the 2 million that was available. And those are currently under review for ranking. So stay tuned on the outcomes of that one. And then based on a lot of discussion and really great impact from districts and district engineers, we're developing, taking that from sort of the concept notes and into framing out request for applications, or RFA, to help with to boost engineering assistance and capacity for New York professional engineers to engage with districts on ag and non-ag projects in the Ocean Great Lakes watersheds. So stay tuned later in 2026 for the release of that RFA. Like Bethany and Tyler's mentioned before, we also have some funds set aside with EBM to help us upgrade our state committee data management system. And there's some really neat piloting going on, led by Tyler, for instance, in the Finger Lakes, with some tools that might be helpful for that and use with statewide. And it's that time of year where we're available and open. I will always take notes on things, and we do that, but available and open for ideas for EBM programs for 2027 as we submit very general requests for funding to DEC and the council. Lastly, another reason I'm presenting on Lauren's behalf is that last week we got some bittersweet news that she will be retiring in mid-April, but based on some vacation, functionally it'll be the end of March. So we're working with her to calibrate on various things and finish what we can with her advisement in this transition period. Several of us will be working on it. We really appreciate Tim Sheldon for stepping up and working on the day-to-day with Lauren, and then after she retires, to manage the ecosystem-based management programs until we can put that position out and fill it. And just really appreciate years of Lauren's service in the department and with the state committee. Thank you, Bethany. Unless Brian has anything more on exciting news from Lauren from last week, really appreciate her efforts.
Yeah, Greg, you said it very, very well. Not much really to say on top of that, except for we'll be working hard to backfill the position when that time comes. And I echo Greg's comments there in thanks and gratitude to Lauren for her years of service. Very bittersweet.
Thank you, Bethany.
All right. So to keep things chugging along, we're nearing the end. But we wanted to highlight as much information, I guess, as we could regarding the State Aid to Districts program, specifically the accomplishments from 2025. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a program that's supported through the EPF, and there's three components to it. First part is a reimbursement based on eligible expenses that by and large covers technical costs for districts to operate and carry out programs. The second part is conservation program funding, so small amount of funding that goes out to districts to implement a project. And then the last part is funding that is awarded to districts based on successful completion of performance measure standards. So in 2025, for 2025, we had $18 million appropriated through the EPF. And the 2025 state aid reports and annual reports were due on February 15th. So that was just a couple of days ago. So we are still going through reviewing those reports and making sure we're following up with districts as necessary. So I don't have too much specific details to share at this time, but for the Part A, the eligible expenditures report, those are under review and we're following up with a few districts. But so far, from 53 districts, we have accounted a total of approximately $23 million in total eligible expenditures. So that is what those 53 districts reported to us as having spent on their technical needs in 2025. Now, districts through Part A, if they can demonstrate that they've spent at least 120,000, will get 60,000 as reimbursement. The exception to that is New York City. So if they can demonstrate that they've met the total eligible expenditures, they are eligible to receive 300,000. Correct. Okay. The Part B final reports, again, are under review, but those are submitted to us as of November of the year prior. So when districts submitted their requests for 2025, they received a total of 372,000. That's $6,000 per 57 districts and 30,000 for New York City. So, once we've reviewed all those final projects, we'll share those with the state committee on what was accomplished through Part B. Again, Part C final reports also under review. I do want to highlight here that this year, because we're kind of in a transition phase from Ben, who was the previous program manager, to hopefully we're going to get a full-time program manager. We've had to divide up the review of these reports amongst the team. So I really, really appreciate the regional coordinators for stepping up and helping to review the Part B and the Part C reports. So it's been really a great team effort, and I want to make sure to recognize that. The other reports, performance measures, annual report, hourly rates, and the treasurer's report, again, are all under review. But I do want to highlight last year in March, all of the districts that successfully demonstrated that they met the performance measures for 2024 did receive approximately $231,000. So, and that was based off of the 17.25. So that amount, will increase because we did get a slight increase in the appropriation. So more to come on the state aid program for sure. So now we're going to wrap this up with I'm going to try to keep it kind of brief because we're a little bit over our time, but with a discussion of where we want to go for 2026. And I know a lot of our program managers in their presentations kind of touched on some goals and things that we want to focus on. And I mentioned this previously, but we want to continue to work with Ag and Markets to move forward with hiring a state aid district's program manager, and now maybe a potential backfill for Lauren Przorski's position. And then, as always, we need to continually assess, the staffing needs that we might have to support our state committee goals and objectives. And I will say one personal goal of mine is to get a photo of all of the staff that are on who support state committee and state committee programs, because one does not exist, at least one that I could not find. So we're going to find a time to do that, just so everybody knows. Same with the voting members. I need an updated photo of all the voting members too. So for supporting district operations, a lot of this is kind of a carryover from last year, and they're just kind of continual annual efforts that we work on each year. But specifically in 2026, I'd like to focus on providing an annual performance measure training to districts and district boards to increase their understanding of the processes, procedures, and requirements of that portion of the funding. We began working on some tool development specific to state aid last year. Never really got to complete that, so that's something I'm hoping we can continue to work on and provide that as a tool to districts that they can use to help track accomplishments throughout the year. Mentioned already, we're continuing to work with the 4-week partnership and others to move forward in trying to increase the connection between districts and college graduates. We want to encourage opportunities for district mentoring and connection, primarily through regional or regionally based trainings that bring districts within a general region together, makes those connections a little bit easier and will help bring new staff together with more senior level staff as well. And the district director training modules, that's something I wanted to highlight as well, because we have a number of training modules that are available for district directors. I think it is time that we evaluate those and update them and potentially develop some new modules as needed. And I will just say, as of last Friday, we had a staff call, and a lot of really great ideas for new training modules kind of came out of that call. So I think we have a great start there. In terms of public relations and outreach, some things to focus on. I would like to evaluate and update our statewide web-based GIS storyboard. This is something that was developed several years ago. I think it's a really great tool to tell the story, what districts are doing out there. It lives on our department website, so it's easily accessible to the public. And I think it's something we should look at to update and keep current. We also would like to update and expand our outreach materials and tools that are available to districts. This effort is, it should be mentioned, is already kind of underway. We're focusing right now on updating the AEM brochure and working that through to get it printed, but there are a number of other outreach materials and displays that we've recognized could stand to be updated and made available. I won't say too much more about this. We really want to continue to focus on updating our data management system. It's a high priority. We have funding available, so it's something that I think we should continue to focus on for 2026. And along those lines, if we're able to upgrade our data management system, we also need to continue to grow our capacity and district capacity to manage data, measure data, and model to really highlight what our impacts are. Some of this stuff was already covered, but a couple of things to highlight. In 2026, we've made a note that we'd like to work on updating the Ag BMP catalog, particularly to develop some new Ag BMP systems that are applicable and would complement some of the AIM technical resources that were recently approved by the state committee last year, but also start working on updating system descriptions within the catalog to include resiliency benefits in addition to water quality benefits. And also, we want to continue to provide direct training opportunities to districts through local and statewide events. I already mentioned earlier, our staff are routinely involved in leading sessions at the statewide events such as the Water Quality Symposium and Conservation Skills Workshop. But we'd like to continue, or we'd like to bring those a little bit more local and work to develop and offer more regional training opportunities and work with districts and partners, potentially to offer insight reviews or on-site field reviews, just to get more people out there and see what's going on. Of course, we're going to continue to develop our next rounds of funding. To do this, we're going to keep using our subcommittee structure to get really great feedback from soil and water conservation districts and partners. The State Programs Advisory Committee has been an excellent way to communicate with districts statewide about what's going on in our programs, and it has been a great platform for state committee staff to share the ideas that we're having about upcoming rounds and to get feedback from districts as well. So we're going to continue to utilize that structure as we develop our next rounds of funding. And as always, we're always working to try to standardize our cost share program requirements and streamline all those processes as best as possible to get funding from here to there as quick as possible. We also, this is kind of a newer topic, but want to consider repurposing the source water buffer program funding. The funding for that program was allocated through the Clean Water Infrastructure Act back in 2017. And it made funding available to support the purchase of conservation easements that were designed to protect sources of drinking water. And we are also supposed to be prioritizing the implementation of riparian buffers. That program, since it's been out and available, we've only contracted with 2 districts or projects. One contract actually was canceled, and we're getting ready to close out the one contract that did kind of make it through the whole process. So, you know, that program just hasn't been super successful. It's kind of complicated and just isn't really working. So we'd like to consider pulling that funding down and trying to repurpose it as we can. We're going to keep up the cooperative conservation. We've touched on a lot of this, and more to come on all of our regional and statewide managers meetings. But I did leave a blank slide in here because these are all our ideas as a team that we collectively wanted to share with you, the state committee, on what we feel we'd like to focus on for 2026, but certainly want feedback from all of you on if there's any ideas or anything that we should be focusing on as well.
Any thoughts on that?
I thought it was a great selection of ideas already. I'm just going to see if I can find my notes here. Actually, I'll get back off until I can find my notes on it.
Thank you.
Well, just, I agree that, the whole presentation was very well done. A lot of good information, and, I just, as far as priorities go, and I've mentioned this already in a brief discussion with Bethany, but for me, I think the engineering issue and the district staff training issue are 2 of the most important things that I hope we can somehow get something developed over the course of the next year. It's a topic, both of them, that have been kicked around for a while now. It seems to come up a lot at our meetings here, and it would be great to come up with some solutions and a direction to head in on both of those. So that's one thing I see as main priorities.
Yeah, I agree with you on those, Matt. It's a lot of great ideas, but being able to choose which ones are the most important to focus on is the next important thing to do. So
I'm kind of overwhelmed with the amount of work that's been done across our state. It's just almost unreal. It's hard to take all of it in all at once.
Oh, absolutely. This certainly isn't the only opportunity, you know, for this type of discussion. If after today, you know, over the next couple of weeks, as ideas might come to you, if you're processing all the information, you know, we can discuss at a future meeting as well. Always add priorities throughout the year.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to stop sharing for just a second because I don't know if there's any.
Well, I was going to suggest a brief, we still got quite a bit of stuff to go through. I was going to suggest just a brief break here.
Sure.
So, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know how long you think.
Maybe just a quick 5 minute.
Okay.
So we'll pause just for 5 minutes, everyone.
Okay.
The first
The districts.
AI. I don't know district wise, no.
Yeah. For what? The t-shirt competition.
Oh.
Oh. I feel like the people that have done it in the past have like some kind of an angle to.
Hey guys, we can hear you. That's where, just heads up.
Oh.
That breaks.
Here. So. You should do that. Basically, you're increasing there. See, action. Yeah, that was evidence. Based on value. You tell me what you're doing and where you're doing it, so yeah. Alright, well. This year meeting thing. Okay. But. So yeah, the process that's still. So this. Yeah, it should be 30, in the whole project. So. 1 acre for the house. Okay. Did you just make that agreement with her? Because usually we have to out with like the answer. Well, I mean, general, he said. Yeah, but not, that makes sense. I mean, this kind of. Let's have this remote bond. Yeah. Up to. Is the barn up that the barn start? Right. Okay. Yeah, that's, yeah, I just actually need for the barn. Yeah. Oh, okay. That would be the obviously awesome. I'm not like it all the time. No, it's. I'm not.
Yeah, that's. So, yeah, the farm is not fitting me, it's not, we used to, I'll make sure of that. So, and it is your operation that you take. Basically, that would be part of the problem. People say, oh, yeah.
Listen,
I know, sorry. All right, folks, I think we're ready to resume.
Our next item is the program updates, and we start with the AM-based program with Chastity Miller.
I think we're gonna glaze over that one. Chaz's update was kind of included in her.
Okay,
presentation, so.
all right. So we'll move on to the agricultural non-point abatement and control program with Jason.
Thank you. So I'll start with our program update of existing rounds, move to our current round, round 31, amendments, and then round 32 timeline tentative, which will need a motion. So I'll start out with our current round update. Visually, it's on screen, but we have in current rounds 136 completed contracts, 23 have been canceled in this time period, 145 active, and 6 in round 30 still pending to be executed, accounting for $113,700,000 awarded. Since last meeting in existing rounds, we have closed out 5 contracts, 1 contract from round 26 and 4 from round 28. Previously mentioned round 30. 49 have been approved by council. 44 are active and executed. 5 are just pending signature from the various parties, whether that's the comptroller, district, or department. And there's only 1 more that just needs some adjustment to their plan of work to become a contract. So really round 30 is in full swing, and we're getting claimed for payments as we are entering this upcoming fiscal blackout period. But we are getting payment claims in and paid. So that's my program update. Are there any questions?
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, hearing none, I do have amendments today for time extensions. Knowing that we are a little bit over our scheduled time, I'm going to just refer you to the reason in the provided packet that was sent to voting members late last week. But don't let that rush you. If you have any questions on these amendments, we can of course pause. I just want to direct you to what the district wrote up for the reason. But I'll set up the project and our voting on each one. So starting in Region 3, Cortland County Soil and Water, round 28, C701498 is seeking an extension from January 31st, 2026 to January 31st, 2027 for the reason provided in pages 3 through 8 of your provided material. This was brought to us and approved by Scott Fickbaum, Region 3 AEA, and it is the first amendment on the contract.
Is there any discussion on this one? If not, motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay. And we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
And Maureen?
Aye.
And aye for me as well, so that amendment is approved.
Very good, thank you. Next one is also from Cortland County Soil and Water, same round 28, C701499, seeking a contract extension from the end date of January 31st, 2026 to January 31st, 2027. The reason is provided in pages 9 through 14 of your provided material. This is also brought to us by Scott Fickbaum, the Region 3 AEA, who supports the request but refers to state committee. And this is the first amendment sought on the contract.
Any discussion? If not, a motion to approve?
I make motion.
Second? All right, we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
And Maureen?
Aye.
And aye for me as well, so that is approved.
Very good, thank you. We'll move on to Region 4. This is from Madison County Soil and Water, around 28, C71510, seeking a similar contract extension of 1 year from January 31st, 2026 to January 31st, 2027. The district provided materials on pages 15 to 28, which provides their reason. This was brought to us by Ryan Cunningham, the Region 4 AEA, who supports the request, but refers it to state committee. This is also the first amendment on this contract being sought.
Any discussion on this one? Motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I second.
Okay, we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Megan?
Aye.
And Maureen? An aye for me as well, so that one's approved.
All right, very good. We are moving to Region 5. This is Essex County Soil and Water, Round 28, C71502, seeking an extension, same date range from January 31st, 2026 to January 31st, 2027. The provided materials in pages 29 to 37 of your packet. Ben Luskin, Region 5 AEA, supports the request but refers to state committee. This is also the first amendment extension requested on the contract.
Any discussion? Motion to approve?
I so move.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
All right, we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
And Maureen?
Aye.
An aye for me as well, so that one's approved.
Thank you all. Last one for this region is from Washington County Soil and Water, same round 28, C71521, same contract date extension. We're being sought from January 31st, 2026 to January 31st, 2027. Their materials on pages 38 to 45 of the provided materials, also brought to us by Ben Luskin, the Region 5 AEA, supports the request, but refers to state committee. Once again, this is the first amendment being sought on their contract.
Any discussion on this one? A motion to approve? Second?
Second. Maureen?
All right, we'll vote. Darren?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Megan?
Aye.
And Maureen?
Aye.
An aye for me as well. So that one.
Thank you, guys. So now we're moving on to the last one. This is Region 6. This is from Orange County Soil and Water, around 27, C701477A. Contract extension being sought for March 1st, 2026 to March 1st, 2027. This is at the end of your packet, pages 46 to 56. This was brought to us by Travis Ferry, the Region 6 AEA. And there was one other previous extension on this contract.
Any discussion? Motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second?
I'll second it.
All right, we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And aye for me as well, so that one's approved.
Okay, that was all amendments for Agna Point Source. Thank you. So the last, oh, sorry. Let's go over timelines. Yep. We'll move around 31 to 32. So we're currently in round 31. We released this RFP in January 5th, 2026. We held an RFP webinar and we are accepting questions and publishing answers publicly for people for applicants to view. They'll continue through March with the final Q&A published on March 13th. Proposals are due on Monday, April 20th at 4:30 p.m. through SharePoint. After that date, we will begin reviewing proposals for eligibility and completeness. We will hold our pre-review meeting with our partner scoring agencies, and they will begin scoring. Scores are going to be due back to the program manager and myself in June of 2026. And then we will do our post-review meeting of scores to work out disparate scores or discuss around. I plan to bring a ranked list for your approval in July. at which point we can give out award and non-award letters. And non-award letters will be accompanied by debriefs if they are requested. August through September will be when we submit our procurement record to the state comptroller. We will work on plan of work with conservation districts who are awarded to hammer out any last details of their contract, and then submit contracts to Ag and Markets Council, button them up so that they are legal and binding, and we get all appropriate signatures from all parties, with the goal of contract execution in fall, likely October. That was round 31 in a snapshot. Is there any questions on that one?
There's no questions or discussions. We need a motion to approve the timeline.
Not for
Oh,
31.
31, 32. Get out of the thing, okay.
That's my apology. I should have added that to my program status update, but we will need a motion for round 32. This is the tentative timeline. This is similar to round 31, which we released the RFP in January of 2027, with a somewhat truncated application time, having applications due again in March. To reach this goal, we will begin developing the RFP through spring and summer of this year in 2026. I plan to bring our proposed RFP for your approval in September of this year. At that point, we review and we prepare it for release from the department. We hammer it through our council and get it properly ready as a department document. Released in January through March, as I was saying. And so, kind of mirroring the timeline I just went over for round 31, we're going to have a review of proposals spring of next year, a ranked list in June, and then following forward with awards in summer of 2027. Similar kind of awarding timeline in the fall.
Any questions or discussion on round 32 timeline? If not, this is the one we need to motion to approve.
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All right, we'll go to voting. Darren?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Maureen?
Aye.
And aye for me as well, so that is approved.
Thank you.
Yep, we're up to the climate resilient farming program. Is Greg gonna do the update on that, or?
Sure. Jennifer, do you have any additional updates?
Oh,
for us
Jennifer,
here?
sure, I'm sorry.
Hello, that's okay.
Sorry about that,
I don't
Jennifer.
have any,
Oh.
no problem. I don't have any additional updates regarding round 9 or looking forward to round 10. So we can, and I don't have any amendments either this round or this meeting.
All right, simple.
Do you want to review a timeline for CRF?
So before we get into that, Matt will have to recuse,
Right.
and Darren, can you run this portion of the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, it's up on the screen, Jennifer.
Thank you. So round 10, we are proposing to do a similar timeline as we did for round 9. Currently working on RFP development and hope to provide a draft RFP to the state committee at the June meeting. And then from there, we will continue to work on that RFP and review with council, and have a goal to release the RFP in September, potentially in August, if that's feasible. And then leaving it open for around a 12-week period, closing in November, very similar to what we did for round 9, and then reviewing proposals through December and January, bringing a ranked list for round 10 back to the state committee in 2027 February. Once we have a approved rank list, we then make awards. So very similar to round 9.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, we need a motion.
I'll make motion.
We got a
Or
motion.
seconded.
Okay, we got a motion, a second. Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Yes, approve.
Maureen,
Aye.
and it's an aye for me as well.
Great, thank you so much. We will get back to you with more information about round 10 as we progress through developing that RFP. So that's all I had for CRF program, unless there are any further questions.
Thanks, Jennifer. We're just grabbing Matt to get him back in the room. Thank you all.
All right, so we are up to the Oneida Lake Watershed Coalition Memo of Understanding.
Yes, and before you present, Steve, I want to apologize because I said earlier in the meeting we didn't have any formal correspondence, but Steve Lorraine, Madison County District Manager, did reach out to me and requested that the state committee review and approve this memorandum of understanding that has been put in place for the Oneida Lake Watershed Coalition. And I failed to mention that, so I apologize, Steve.
All right, hang on. We got a lot. Sorry. Let's share this presentation, maybe. That's the wrong. All right, hang on a second. Let me just close this one.
And while you guys are getting that pulled up, I will just share that I passed along the copy of the MOU to all of the voting members in advance of the meeting as well.
There you go. You're starting to go through now.
So now can I advance it here? Okay, just to confirm, you guys are seeing the presentation?
Yes, there it is.
Okay. All right, so I'm Steve Lorraine, District Manager, Madison County Soil and Water. A lot of you folks know who I am, some of you don't. Figured I'd share this slide to start with because you know I'm a sunshine, lollipops, and rainbow kind of guy, right? We're at the end of the meeting here, so I gotta wake everybody up a little bit. I can't. Oh, there we go. Okay, so then reality always comes up and smacks me in the face. So this is Oneida Creek, which is a creek that flows between Madison County and Oneida County, flowing into Oneida Lake. So you can kind of see we have some issues there. It's a great picture. Used it many times before, so you may have seen it. So just shows you one of the big problems we're dealing with there. Sediment, obviously phosphorus is tied to all that sediment. So the Oneida Lake watershed, why is it important? It's the largest inland lake in all of New York State. It's got a very high value fishery, a large economic driver for the region, and the lake is an integral portion of the New York State barge canal system.
Go ahead. You're just delayed a little bit.
I'm delayed, all right. So just a little history. Oneida Lake is the remnant of Lake Iroquois, which was impounded by a glacier some 12,000 years ago. First development occurred in the early 1800s. Industrial initiatives included logging, sand, basket making, salt industry, summer resorts, and the glass industry. So just some brief facts on what the Oneida Lake watershed itself is. It's over 872,000 acres. That's 1,364 square miles. The lake itself is 21 miles long. The watershed encompasses 6 counties, 69 towns and villages,
And down at the bottom of the screen there, you can kind of see the breakout by the 6 counties in terms of how much land mass falls within each one of the 6 counties of the watershed. So just a few stats. 33.5% of the land base is currently in agriculture. 47.5 is forested. A lot of that is on the northern end of the watershed. 67% of the water that flows into the lake actually comes out of the northern portion of the watershed, often due to snowmelts. There's over 850 miles of trout stream in the watershed. In 1900, there were 476 dwellings on the lakeshore. By 1960, there were over 4,000 dwellings on the lakeshore. There are over 400 commercially operating farms in the watershed and numerous other, what you would call maybe a hobby farm or non-commercial farms. And according to Central New York Regional Planning, the lake's net income to the region exceeds $180 million on an annual basis. So what planning has taken place to date in the watershed? So in 1997, the watershed began planning for Oneida Lake, and it started with the Southern Region strategy, and that concluded in 2000. The reason they started with the Southern Region was because of population and agricultural density. In 1998, the lake was added to the EPA list of impaired waters due to excessive nutrients. In 2001, the development of the Oneida Lake Watershed Management Plan was started. The plan was completed in 2004. Work has continued based on the recommendations that were developed during that planning process. In 2011, the Oneida Lake Watershed Ecosystem Status Report was released to give an update on the watershed and where things were since the management plan had been released. We are currently in the development of a 9E plan for the watershed. That is hopefully will be done in 2027. And in 2024, EPA delisted Oneida Lake from its list of impaired waters, and yet algal blooms, invasive species, flooding remain a serious issue. Those are just those 2 plans I had mentioned. They're on the web if anybody wants to take a deeper dive into those. So one of the things that came out of the Oneida Lake Watershed Management Plan was an agricultural committee. And the district spearheaded that committee, working with farms across the watershed to implement BMPs on farms across the watershed based on the recommendations that came out of the Oneida Lake Watershed Management Plan. Funding that supported a coordinator that had been housed in Oneida County Soil and Water. That money disappeared probably 20 years ago. And we continue to work together as districts do to get funding, implement projects, and keep moving forward. In addition to the ag work, significant stream and flood mitigation work is taking place through the districts in the watershed. The 6 districts complete an annual report annually that we submit to the Oneida Lake Association so they can see, because they're always asking what's getting done in the watershed. So we put something together. I want to thank Mark Berger for that because he spearheaded putting that together for the last 5-6 years. I also want to mention that there's significant amounts of invasive species work taking place in the watershed now. We just received a grant from the EPA for about $1 million to do some invasive species work in the watershed. So that's a good boost for us. So what are our next steps? So the 6 districts have entered into an MOU that created the Oneida Lake Watershed Coalition. All of our boards reviewed it and have signed on to it. So that's been completed. So we're here today to kind of inform the state committee that we're working on this. We're moving forward with it for the state committee's blessing. And then we will be holding in the very near future our first official Oneida Lake Watershed Coalition meeting to plot a course forward, looking at potential funding sources. What do we need or want to do about staffing issues to move this project forward? Those windmills you can see in the back, if you're standing up at those, you could look out and see the Oneida Lake from those windmills. Those are in Madison County. Questions? Told you to be brief.
Yeah, you said you're asking for our blessing. Is it a requirement or is it a blessing that you're looking for?
It's not a requirement, but I've met several other coalitions and the state committee has signed off on that. They've signed the MOU.
And when I read your MOU, it talked about if we sign it, we're part of the voting coalition. Is that true too? Or is that just, again, the blessing part?
I don't believe it makes you part of the voting coalition. I believe only the districts are voting members.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Yep. Any other questions?
Do you have other watershed groups coming to you to talk about this, or can they? You said you're a part of other groups.
Well, I'm a Madison Saltwater is a member of the Upper Susquehanna Coalition, the Mohawk River Watershed Coalition, because our county lies in those three watersheds. We have a portion of each one of the watersheds in our county. So we're a member of those coalitions that are, the coalitions themselves, the legal structure is that the voting members are Soil and Water districts, but we invite in partners like the United Lake Association would be invited in as a partner, but they're a non-voting partner. Because state law, the way state law and the MOU is set up, it has to be between districts.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that too.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
If there's no other questions or discussion, we need a motion to approve the signing of the memo of understanding.
Make that motion.
Second,
I'll second. Somebody else
Okay.
move.
yeah, yeah, we'll sort that out. All right, we'll go to voting. Darren,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
and I for me as well, so that is approved. And that, all right, before we go on to the next item, I had a question. I was just curious as to, and Steve touched on it a little bit there. How many coalitions do we have now in the state? Does anybody have that?
Tyler, do you have that number right off the top of your head?
I don't, but I do need to update the map, so I should know that. Sorry.
I think
I know we've
there's
got
either,
several.
I think there's either
Right.
9 or 10.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
think so, too,
only, like two sections of the state that aren't covered by
I was thinking that
a watershed
a
coalition.
lot of it was covered now, and would be once this is
Yep.
finalized.
Yeah, we're getting close.
Yeah,
It would be a great map to produce to see,
yeah,
how they interconnect.
yeah, because like Steve was saying, the overlap there with Madison County. It would be interesting to see how the counties fit into maybe one or more. Yeah.
A couple of years ago in our state committee annual report, we did a whole, I guess, kind of featurette article on the watershed coalitions that exist across the state. And Tyler put together a really great map, just as you said, Maureen, that outlined them and showed where there were some that kind of overlapped boundaries. But now that we've had, since that time, we've had the Black River Watershed Coalition, become more formalized, the Eastern Finger Lakes Coalition, and now Oneida Lake Watershed Coalition. So we got some updating to do on that map.
Well, and maybe that would be a good for the April meeting, maybe like a presentation or whatever on the coalitions, what's out there, and that might be a good topic for that meeting.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. That's something that occurred to me when we saw this, and not having had the past experience, I wasn't sure how many existed. So that's good information already to know.
All right, well, I've got that note. I guess before we move on, I did print a copy of that MOU, so before you leave, you can sign it, and Steve will get that back to you.
All right, I guess we're up to the reports. We'll start with the voting members, and I don't have anything to report. Scott, you have?
Legislative days in the case of New York is behind us now. Yes, it was a good event that we had, so.
All right. Darren, do you have anything to report?
I don't believe that I do.
Okay, Megan?
I guess I only say that with farmers I've talked to, do appreciate the funding level that continues this year, those that are applying for programming.
And Maureen?
I'm hoping to see some people at the Water Quality Symposium next month. So I'm looking forward to a lot of the great programs that they're putting on. And just mention that the Monroe County's tree program, as of last week, they were over 400 orders already. So they got another few weeks to go for orders. So it's one of the best events we've had.
Will you be there for the banquet?
Yes.
At the podium? Oh, good. We'll get a chance to meet then.
All right. Meet in
Person.
person.
All right, so that's our voting members.
All right, so I'll take it from here.
Yep.
If you'd like. We'll go around the room here in Albany, Syracuse, and then online. For myself, I'm going to be shifting gears to focusing on some state aid stuff and working with the team to get those reports reviewed and payments processed and all that fun stuff. Also, we'll be preparing for the Water Quality Symposium and helping to coordinate a class that's focused on grant writing. So working together with Jason and Jennifer Chaz and Jason Cuddebeck from Cayuga County to put that together and organize a few panel discussions that are going to be part of that. And we'll be focusing now, I'll have some more time to focus on our state committee annual report and take all of the information that we shared with you all today and put it into our report that will get sent out later this year. That is it for me. Jason, anything additional you want to share?
Nothing additional.
Ben?
Regionally, we're probably all mostly working on the same stuff. A lot of closeout paperwork with AIM 18 wrapping up, trying to get through that. Myself been doing a decent amount of site visits to see what I can still see that's not snow covered this time of year, along with board meetings, doing some trainings, that sort of thing. Helping out with the state aid reports, like Bethany had said, seems to be going well. And then some watershed stuff, trying to get to some watershed coalition meetings. There's some more funding coming down the line for the Champlain watershed that we're trying to get into a contract. So going through the plan of work and that sort of thing with Tyler and others. But I think that's about it for me.
Travis?
Basically the same thing that Ben said, a lot of AEM 18, helping out with state aid reporting. One different thing also, working on getting some Long Island nitrogen money that was appropriated, working on getting that out to a contract for Suffolk County CCE and the district out there. But other than that, that's about it.
All right, thank you very much. Shifting to Syracuse, we'll start with Tyler. Do you have anything additional?
Hey, thanks, Bethany. No, nothing too much on my end. We're working with the Eastern Finger Lakes Coalition on some reporting stuff. We're actually going to be meeting with Kerry this afternoon and DC later in the week. Gearing up for implementation season very shortly. As you mentioned earlier in the presentation, we are piloting a new ArcGIS online type of a data collection system or project management tool. So we have some final touches on that to kind of button that up before we go live and start collecting projects. But I would be more than happy to give a presentation on that as we get a little bit further through that process. We're awaiting executed contract for the USC contract for afforestation. Hopefully we'll have that in hand here in a couple of months. And that's about it on my end.
Thanks,
No,
Tyler.
Steve, yeah, just want to thank you guys for listening to the presentation and getting on board with us. Thank you.
Hi, Scott. Yeah, Region 3 AEA. Similar to the other guys working on closeouts, I'm about 25 farms through 57 AIM Tier 3 and Tier 4 closeouts. Been working with Gideon about trying to set up this regional training that Bethany mentioned earlier. I got a nice spreadsheet with all the technicians in my region, years of service, looking at SUNY Oneonta as a nice centralized location to hold that training. So that's coming along. Also, last month, I submitted the 2025 annual CREP report to USDA. That went well, pretty much glitch-free. We did well. We made progress on all of our goals. We came up with about 24 million in match. The program itself on the USDA side, probably not as good as say what a typical year would have been. I think we could all remember the layoffs that NRCS and FSA went through, and then the eventual shutdown. But though I do have some numbers for everybody, just so people are aware. Last year for CREP, they re-enrolled 22 acres. They signed up 41 acres. There are a total of 434 contracts in the state, representing about 5,000 acres. And they pay annual rental on that of about $500,000. For those that know or might be familiar with the Chesapeake Bay Incentive Program that got ended in 2016, the state has fulfilled their financial obligations, so we're not really doing that anymore on the state side, but USDA still has a good about 500,000 of their original $1 million to put towards that. And they've paid out $40,000 last year in those incentive payments to farms in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. Total cost share payments, to give you an idea of scale, for the entire program for all eligible watersheds was $115,000. So not exactly a huge program, but still under the pressures that they were, I felt like our partnership of FSA, NRCS, and especially the Upper Susquehanna Coalition, who does the most CREP work throughout the state by far. That partnership was the big success story that I tried to tout in the report, to say that, under those very trying circumstances, condensed deadlines, multiple programs, less people, all of it, uncertainty of whether or not folks had jobs in the future, they were able to do quite a bit. And so I felt like that was a real good success story to articulate in the report. So there's that. And I think that's it. That's about it. Thanks a lot.
Dan.
Yeah, I don't have any updates other than looking forward to going to Water Quality Symposium for the first time in March and being on that grant as part of the grant review session.
All right, PJ.
Thank you, Bethany. Just a couple quick things, like the other guys have said, working on a lot of closeouts, AIM 18, Ag Non-Point, CRF, a whole multitude of different closeouts coming in. So that's been good. As Tyler mentioned, the Eastern Finger Lakes reporting, we're going to meet with the watershed coordinator after this meeting and discuss the reports, the parameters, and all that kind of stuff, as well as annual planning for the next year's projects here. Also working with DEC on the 4-hour presentation update, working with DEC and some district staff from across the state on doing that. That's been real helpful. And at the symposium, we'll have a chance for all the instructors to meet the Thursday of the symposium for a full day course to go through each one of the slides, discuss the updates so that all the instructors are prepared to deliver that course on DEC's behalf. Finger Lakes Round 2, the final report is almost done. We're hoping to get that sent in, and my goal is to get that sent in no later than next month so we can close that project out. I think getting that report out will be helpful for justification for a Round 3 cover crop, hopefully, if there's any funding available from any of our partners or other entities that may want to look at that. I know that the districts have done an outstanding job getting a lot of acres on the ground. And not only doing the Round 1 and Round 2, but also using that as a catalyst for future funding. A lot of board trainings coming up. I've been scheduling some of those here, going out a few months. So looking forward to doing that. And just a reminder to the districts, if you need any training, let us know and we're happy to come out and do it. Other than that, that's all I have, Bethany.
Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, thanks, Bethany. Similar to the other regional staff, doing a lot of AEM 18 work, trying to screen all the tier 4 projects and kind of help the transition with Chaz. I know she's getting everything at the same time this time of year. So taking a look at a lot of that, getting out in the field and seeing some projects. It's nice to see a lot of projects come to fruition. You've seen them on paper for the last couple of years. So to kind of see all that stuff transition into projects has been pretty nice. Also spending some time at board meetings. This is the time of year that a lot of boards have organizational meetings and many times new board members. So I'm kind of getting acquainted with some new board members out there and trying not to overwhelm them with all the information we have, but doing a few trainings here and there and kind of getting them on board, answering questions and the like. Also, we're dividing up all the work with state aid reporting. So it's been kind of nice to see, again, you know, all the stuff you hear about through the year, to actually see that in report form and go through all the deliverables that districts actually do throughout the years. It's quite impressive given the average size of districts, right? Not a lot of people at each individual district, and to see all those reports, all those projects and deliverables going, it's been pretty eye-opening, nice to see. So hats off to them on that. Otherwise, like the other guys, a lot of board meetings and grant closeouts and the like, and then preparing for a course at the upcoming symposium too. So thank you.
Thank you. So now we'll shift to advisory members who have joined on the line, and I think we've lost a couple people have had to sign off. Brian Steinmuller, our Ag and Markets rep, had to sign off, but just asked that I reiterate, we'll continue to work with the department and HR here to staff up and keep growing our staff and get people on board as quick as possible. Let's see. How about CDEA? Caitlin.
Hi, Bethany. Thank you. The CDEA board has participated in multiple meetings to ensure that we are upholding our four-way partnership and beyond. This includes an invasive species advisory committee meeting, of course, the state committee meetings, NYACD meetings, and early this year, we held a bylaws committee meeting and, of course, our regular January bi-monthly meeting. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Commissioner Ball for not only writing written testimony supporting the proposed Environmental Protection Fund at $425 million, but also speaking on the Senate floor during the public hearing on January 27th for Ag and Markets and Parks and Rec. I do want to share a quote that I captured from his report, as well as the question and answer session that followed. Commissioner Ball said that the Environmental Protection Fund at $425 million supports programs that reduce the effects of climate change on the farm and protect our natural resources. Funding will target our grant programs that conserve farmland, boost farm resiliency, and provide additional aid to our soil and water conservation districts. He continued that it's still a good idea to consider the effects of climate change on our agricultural land in New York State. It's still a good idea to look at connecting those dots between the people who produce food and the people who need access. We've got plenty of work to do. Isn't that right? New York State can't make up for the loss in federal dollars completely, but we can stay committed with our ag non-point programs, our climate resilient farming programs, and all the ways that we support ag in this state. Again, just I want to thank the commissioner on behalf of the 58 soil and water conservation districts in New York State. His advocacy alongside NYACD is really hitting home on the importance of continued funding through the EPF to support our soil and water conservation districts. Shifting gears to the Water Quality Symposium, CDEA Vice President Jessica Armstrong has done an incredible job to coordinate the 2026 event. Track chairs, committee members, and instructors will deliver courses to advance staff expertise. I want to give a huge shout out to all Soil and Water Conservation Committee partners who make this event possible year after year. These employees are attending planning meetings, they're instructing, they're making sure that continuing education credits are offered. We cannot do this without you. Networking like the Farmers Market Resource Fair, entertainment, and the hospitality suite will bolster camaraderie. This intense 4-day training session is perhaps the most effective professional development experience available to conservation districts and our partners across the state and the Northeast. I want to highlight some upcoming events. The Soil and Water Conservation Districts will host a booth at the New York State Farm Show, February 26th through 28th at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. Of course, our Water Quality Symposium is coming up March 10th through 13th at the Hyatt Regency Rochester. And as part of the symposium, our CDEA annual meeting will be held March 11th, 12 to 2 p.m. at the Rochester Hyatt. The New York State Envirothon is slated for May 27th through 28th at SUNY Cortland. And the Soil and Water Conservation District booth at the Great New York State Fair will be August 26th through September 7th at the New York State Fairgrounds. This is my final meeting of the Soil and Water Conservation Committee in the capacity as CDEA president. I have served on the board for the last 10 years as secretary, vice president, and president for the last 3. I want to extend my gratitude to Bethany Busdew, the AEAs, the Soil and Water Conservation Committee board, and the advisory members. We are the model of how partnerships truly get conservation on the ground. And it's been a pleasure working with you. We will hold elections during the Water Quality Symposium, and per the nominating committee, the only person who's running for vice president or for president is Jessica Armstrong. And if elected, the state committee will be in very good hands with her. And again, just extending my gratitude and thanks. And Bethany, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, Caitlin, thank you. And I echo everything you said about the partnership, and have really appreciated your engagement, with the state committee. So I hope you don't leave us forever. You're always welcome to come to our monthly meetings and provide a report. We would look forward to hearing from you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's see, moving on. Anyone from DEC have a report?
Hi, this is Vaughn. Nothing to report, other than to at least say on my end that I really look forward to working with all of you guys, and I appreciate everything that I've been learning on this meeting so far.
Thank you very much. And I believe she had to leave, so I don't know if she has come back. Morgan Tarbell, Department of Health. Okay. Department of State.
Nothing to report here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And we will wrap it up with staff who are on the line. Greg Albrecht, anything to report today?
Bethany, thanks. Just to thank everybody for all they do, and maybe since the CRF round reviews completed last week, special thanks to our advisory committee partners who do a lot of work to review the proposals and summarize them. So that's awesome. Nothing additional.
Thank you. Chaz.
Sorry, I just had to get off mute there. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to do a program update. I covered mostly everything there, but I do want to say thank you so much to all the Ag and Market staff and all the districts for all their hard work and helping us collect all this information and put it together. Everybody's doing some amazing projects and I can't wait to highlight them for you guys here soon. So thank you so much to all you guys.
Jennifer.
I'll just say thank you to our reviewers for round 9. We have folks from Ag and Markets, DEC, Cornell Cooperative Extension, and DOS that review for CRF. And there were many reviewers from each of those agencies that participated for round 9, and it takes a lot of time and effort to go through each of those proposals. I just want to thank them for all of their work and participation for round 9. So thank you.
Thank you. Ron Bush had to sign off, but indicated he did not have any further reports. So that takes us to Brendan. Do you have anything else to share today?
Other than looking forward to Water Quality Symposium and some of the great programs that'll be there, nothing else to report. Thank you, Bethany.
Thank you. And last but not least, Gideon.
Thanks, Bethany. Nothing to add.
All right. Thank you all. I just want to pause really briefly to give any soil and water conservation district or district director or any member of the public who may be on the line, give them some time if there's anything that they would like to share or report. Okay, hearing none, I think we are good to move on. And I wanted to, maybe before we do the rank list, I should have maybe moved up the, I guess we already talked about the next meeting date, but maybe we do that before folks sign up.
Yep. Before we do that, Caitlin, I just want to say that we will miss you in your participation in the meetings in the future, but hopefully we'll be seeing you around from time to time.
Thank you so much for that.
So the next meeting scheduled for March 17th, does that work for all the voting members?
Yes, that's fine.
Let's double check, but I don't think that's a problem for me.
Looks good for me, I think.
Yep, I've already got it on my calendar, so that's good. All right, so we're all set with that, then we're on to the next item.
Okay, so at this point in the agenda, we will have to ask all of the soil and water districts and district directors, with the exception of our CDEA designated representative, to please recuse from the discussion of the round 9 CRF ranked list. This is our last item on the agenda, so you can just sign off if you're joining being WebEx. You can just sign off because we will not have any other business to get to after this point. If you are in the room, we will have to ask you to leave the room. So we'll just give a couple minutes and pause here. And this does include district directors who may be on the line as well. All right, guess just one last check. Any district director who might be on the line, please make sure you sign off, please. Okay. Jennifer, do you want me to pull up the ranked list?
Yes, please.
One moment.
I am very curious about number 70.
Okay, hold on one minute. All right, I'll zoom in. It's gonna be small.
Duck manure?
Yeah, but still the cost.
Yeah, let me see.
All right, Jennifer,
It's involved.
hopefully you guys are seeing it okay.
I just bought, spurs didn't come in, there's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. They are expensive.
Okay,
but
so this is our round 9 ranked list. So we receive scores up to 50 points from 4 sets of reviewers: DOS, DEC, Ag and Markets, and Cornell Cooperative Extension. And then together, those scores are combined into a total, and then we offer a new participant preference points of 5 additional points if you have not been awarded an Agnon point source or CRF grant in the last 10 years. We check that through our database, so that is something that we do internally. That's 5 points added to the aggregated score if they meet that criteria, if they've self-identified and then also meet that criteria. So what you see on here is the list in order per track of how they scored. There is the state funding amount, the cumulative amount. At the very bottom, there's a chart that shows how much is available per track. Track 4 was undersubscribed, so all of the applications in track 4 are above the minimum funding or a minimum scoring threshold. Therefore, they will all be funded. After that, there is a little bit of funding left over. We base that funding will be redistributed to the other tracks based on how much was originally allocated per track. And that calculation is actually in this at the bottom of the scoring sheet. It shows how much has been reallocated to the track for some additional funding all the way up to the 24 million.
Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll slow for folks.
Sure. We do write in our RFP that we are able to offer partial awards where the funding line or like, where we kind of run out of funding in that track. The past few years, we have been able to add return funds to those projects on that funding line, so that we don't have to offer partial awards. It does become a little bit complicated to offer partial awards, but we do have the mechanism to do either option.
So. All right. So the funding line for track one is just under project number 10, or, well, number 10, right? And then for track two, it would be 27. Is that cut off?
Yeah, so that's going a little, that's being able to fully fund the project. So we may be able to go one more beyond that funding line.
Yeah. And then 48 would be the, oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one there. Track three was 8 million.
You dialed 7380.
So 73 is the last one on for track three.
Correct. Yes, you did, because our number is 380.
So Scott, you had a question about number 70, which looks like it will be funded if I'm looking at this right.
The number has, that part has changed. They've been reordered, and so this is the numbering has changed from what I had originally presented to you, as far as a list of applications. So I'm not sure if that would line up with what you were looking for.
Well, yeah, okay, well,
The project number stays the same throughout.
Well, I was gonna,
The Suffolk County,
what the project was
yeah,
and the dollar amount total, but then the other 8 farms, I mean, there's like 8
oh, there's 8,
spreaders
oh,
involved.
okay,
or-
all right,
I was kind of just curious to,
yeah. Oh, there's 8, yeah, the 8 farms.
divide 8 into that, and it's,
Or I don't know this, or it could be that the district is gonna own the spreader and then use it on those 8 farms, similar to a no-till drill.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
well, I'd like to know what kind of a spreader it is. It's $254,000.
Knowing the type of farms they have down there, it's probably something relatively small that's just probably a rear solid
Yeah, that's what.
slinger out the
yeah.
back would be my guess.
Yeah,
It's probably on beef farms or something along those lines.
Well, and that total project amount might not all be the cost of that particular equipment.
Well, I was wondering what's involved in it.
Sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Equipment is only eligible with the implementation of a BMP, so they have to be implementing something in order to have equipment as part of the project.
Oh, let's see.
if there's a nutrient management plan involved or.
Yeah, soil testing for a number of
Yeah.
years and.
There is.
We do support soil testing. Planning is not eligible under CRF program.
Okay,
They are, if you look a little further across on that spreadsheet, there is 827.1 acres of nutrient management planned.
Oh, okay.
Which, probably has a, well, I don't know how if there's a
Yeah.
flat rate or if they're choosing another method. So there is close, upwards, almost 1,000 acres of nutrient management.
We did have a flat rate for nutrient management. In
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, it just caught my mind, purchased a manure spreader and I'm like, wow,
Yeah, it does, it does.
there's gotta be something more to it than that.
Yeah,
Even like composting, like, wow, they're
yeah,
over $1 million. It's,
yeah, I guess that might be site prep possibly, I don't know.
yeah, and concrete's not
Yeah,
cheap anymore.
Yeah,
If it's covered facility.
mhm. But, right, so. So you said the numbers have changed since the spreadsheet. So,
Well,
but
if you're referring to this spreadsheet hasn't changed since you saw it when you, if I'm sorry, maybe I was misunderstanding. From when it was sent out to you by Bethany, this has not changed. So if
Oh,
that's
okay.
if you were looking at it from, I guess I was.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out where the cutoff was as far as what was the last project that was gonna get funded, so like for tract one, it looks like Cayuga County would be the last one funded. Yeah, okay, there it is.
Yeah,
I can see it better around here.
Yes, right. Currently showing as number 10.
Yeah, and then it would be Onondaga County for track 2. Yeah. Track 3 would be Lewis County.
So we'll continue funding until or continue awarding until we've expended all 24 million.
Yeah, but just looking at the
Where we
cumulative
might-
totals and how much money was available, this is roughly where the cutoff would be.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So sometimes that changes by one because
Right.
we have sort of a partial amount left,
Right.
and then we'll add some return funds to cover
Yeah,
the full
yeah.
amount.
Yeah, I was just trying to get an idea.
But other than
ballpark
that,
where
that
the-
funding line is where we'll cut off. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. Any other questions or discussion on the ranked list?
No, I'm just glad to see that so much funding is available and so many projects are being funded. It's, with what the option could be. I'm glad New York State is still seeing the value in doing these kinds of projects.
Right. So, motion to approve the, oh,
We do have a resolution
Oh,
for this
okay. I'm
that
sorry.
we gotta read. Do you want to do that, Jennifer, or would you like me to?
I can do that. Sure. Thanks for putting it up. So resolution 2026-01, approval of the round 9 climate resilient farming ranked list of proposals. That subject to the availability of funds, the committee shall award funding pursuant to round 9 of the climate resilient farming grant program for projects ranked on each of the 4 lists, 1 list per track, until funds available for this purpose are exhausted or the scoring threshold is reached, consistent with the Soil and Water Conservation District Law, the RFP, and any other law applicable to funding of such projects. Consistent with the RFP, the committee authorizes the Department of Agriculture and Markets to negotiate the terms of the contract with the project sponsors and to make minor adjustments to the project description and budget as necessary to achieve project goals, conform to applicable laws and regulations, and to serve the best interests of the state.
all right, so we need a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
all right, we'll go to voting. Darren,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
and Maureen. And I for me as well. Well, that is approved.
Great
And
work.
with
Nice
that-
to see it together.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right.
With that, if there's nothing else, I believe we would be ready to adjourn.
That's correct.
Thanks, everyone. And hope to see some, if not all, at the Water Quality Symposium next month.
Nice. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be
See you
well.
then.
Take care.